Tape. Alright, here's my audience. Let's see. I did my speech on concussions in football. Edward Gomez, a 17-year-old safety, drilled a receiver coming across the middle. On fourth down, laying a big hit, knocking the ball loose, the pass was incomplete. He jogged to the sidelines. Moments later, lost consciousness and collapsed. He died days later due to a serious concussion. A concussion is an injury that high numbers of people receive, and this is why I'll be trying to inform you or teach you more about this injury and its impact on people in the game of football. I'll do this by explaining what a concussion is and what actually happens to the brain in this injury, the facts of concussions and some ways to help prevent them, and a couple of stories that truly touch my heart on just what this injury can do to you if it gets out of hand. Almost every one of you know the fun and excitement that can come from high school sports, college sports, sports at any level, but then again, you know that you're taking a risk of getting an injury, and one of them injuries could possibly be a concussion. In the article, Sports Concussion Institute, a concussion is defined as a complex pathopsychological process that affects the brain. It can be caused either by a direct blow to the head or even a sudden blow to the body, causing sudden whiplash. Symptoms of this injury include headaches, nausea, loss of memory, sleep disturbance, or even changes in energy levels. This occurs because it is a brain injury. The average adult brain is a 3-pound organ that floats inside the skull. It is able to float because of cerebral spinal fluid that surrounds it, acting as a shock absorber. As you can see, here's where the brain and the cerebral fluid surrounds it right there. When the brain moves hard enough or sudden enough, it causes the brain to shift. And this is where the cerebral fluid, if it's not strong enough, it allows the brain to hit the outer walls, causing it to bleed. And this is how a concussion occurs. So now that you know more about a concussion, what actually happens to the brain in this injury, I'll now explain to you some important facts you need to know, or steps you can follow to prevent this. Concussions are an injury that seem as almost they are common now in football, and this is why we need to know some serious facts about them. As stated in the Heads Up on Sports Concussions, written in 2006, there was an alarming fact that made me think. Did you know that 1 out of every 5 football players that play the game of football have received some type of concussion, obviously some more serious than others? So as you can see right here, this injury, it can happen at any level. It doesn't just have to be high school sports, NFL football. It can happen to even youngsters playing out in the backyard. The Heads Up on Concussion also stated that 90% of concussions are mild in nature, not causing long-term effects. But there are 10% of them that cause lasting damage. And these are the helmet-to-helmet hits. The NFL, as well as many other leagues, are trying to crack down on these hits by implementing strict rules and consequences on these helmet-to-helmet hits. In the NFL, it isn't just a flag anymore, though. Because of how often these injuries have been happening, they've now implemented fines or even resulting in players having to sit out for 2 games because of leading with their helmet. Preventing Concussions, written in 2012, came up with 5 tips that you should know, or coaches should know, in teaching their youngsters in the game of football. The tips for preventing concussions are, first, the kind of helmet matters. As you can see here, and spend a few extra dollars. When you're a youngster playing football, high school, trust me, spending a few extra dollars to get a helmet that is well equipped, fits well, It's worth your money. Second, always lead with your shoulder, not your head. This allows you to receive fewer blows to your head. Third, make sure your helmet fits properly. No matter how much money you spend on it, if it doesn't fit properly, it's probably not going to work. Fourth, don't neglect your neck. There are strength and stretching things you can do with your neck to help prevent whiplash or just strengthen it so you can hold your head up better, allowing you to prevent this injury. And finally, be smart. If you experience symptoms from this injury, take the appropriate steps and measures so it does not become serious or harm you in the long run. The final and fifth way is probably the most important, and you will understand more of this after I leave you with a couple of true stories from players. No matter the age or the skill of these players, it can happen to true, regular people. There is a book called Heads Up, written by Jesse Ventura, that is filled with many heart-touching stories. First off, a 12-year-old, Kyle Lippo. Kyle was just a 7th grader from Round Lake, Illinois, complaining of a headache during one of his youth football games. After the game, he was rushed to the Condell Medical Center, and from there, flown by helicopter to Advocare Lutheran General Hospital, where he died days later, due to a serious concussion. Another story that left the NFL searching for words was when Andre Waters passed away nearly 5 years ago today. Waters stepped onto the pool deck of his house with his pistol in hand in Tampa Bay, Florida, and ended his life at just 44 short years. After the suicide, Bennett Omala, the doctor who studied his brain, came to the conclusion that the damage on Walter's brain was equivalent to a 90-year-old suffering from dementia. Many people are still really uncertain why he pulled the trigger or why he killed himself, but the doctor stated, "Football killed him." These 3 words made me think that it really can't happen to anyone. This is why I believe more people need to be educated. So hopefully today you were able to understand what a concussion really is, some alarming facts or methods that you can use to prevent them, and a couple stories that sure left an impact on me. So I hope that you can all take from this information that I've just presented you and learn from it. Trust me, football can kill you, just like it killed Andre Waters. So take the appropriate steps in preventing this injury, and take care of it.